Hi, I'm Ease. Let's make sunflower butter today. I grew up on peanut butter. I love almond butter. Hadn't really gotten into sunflower butter, so I've made it a few times and I want to show you how I've experimented and the recipe that I now use. So I took a cup of raw sunflower seeds and soaked those for 4 hours, strained them, and put them right in the Vitamix. Then I'm going to use half the water to start with. One thing, the technique I've learned about a Vitamix is that you don't want to add all the water because the Vitamix is more powerful at the bottom. And especially for a sunflower, a nut butter, you need all those RPMs in the bottom to really move this. And then as we make this and blend it creamy, then I'm going to add some oils. And the secret or technique in making a nut seed butter is that you want to entrain oxygen. So in a way, because it's blending so hard and it's getting so cream and smoothie, you're putting in oxygen, which makes it a little lighter and makes that kind of swirl look on the top. And you're also wanting to entrain the oil. That's one in the seed, but then also the oils that I'm adding, and then a little bit of salt. It takes 5 to 10 minutes to actually blend, and we will be getting it in the blades for a long time. So you don't have to stay and watch all of that, but I'll stop it a couple times to show you how we've progressed. So let's get to blending. See how it's already stopped? That means it doesn't have enough liquid. That's the key to all these nut butters, because you'd like it to be as firm as it could be, but you've got to keep the Vitamixer blending. So that's a real issue when you're making these nut butters, or if you're even making a cultured nut or seed cheese. And this again is sunflower, so it's actually a sunflower butter. Same process for nut butters. Let's take a look. So it's just been the water and the sprouted soaked sunflower seeds, looking really good and creamy. And you've noticed that I kept the power down a little bit because I needed to keep going. I could have turned it on high too fast and it would have just, it wouldn't have kept it moving. So I turn it back down to start it. And here we go again. So after the creaminess of the sunflower seeds, I started adding the oil, and the 2 oils I'm using are cold-pressed sunflower oil and a coconut oil. And you can see that at room temperature it melts, so it's been a little colder, so it's starting to form up. And the reason I really like the coconut oil is I want a seed butter that's a little firmer. So this is actually really creamy. So see how it's kind of starting to pour, right? The coconut oil is really a great trick in that since it sets up at room temperature, then that'll help the seed butter to firm up. So let's go, and maybe it'll just be one more time, and this is a little quicker. So I turn the Vitamix all the way back down so I can start it slowly. Now I do the pinch test. All right, so is it smooth and creamy? It's great, very creamy. It's a little more liquid than I would want, but let me show you a couple of things. So let's actually pour it to finish it into a container that you could put it in a ball jar so you could keep it in the fridge. I'm just doing it into this. See how creamy it is, how it's just pouring? Could have used less water, but it will firm up, and I'll show you some other examples that I made just yesterday. So this is just sunflower seeds, water, salt, sunflower oil, cold pressed, and coconut oil. And let me show you what I did yesterday. So I really had fun in the kitchen yesterday, and people in my commercial kitchen had fun too, saying, what flavors should we make? So we made a smoked sunflower seed butter, and it's with smoked paprika. We made a cinnamon and nutmeg. And see how kind of thick it is, right? That's what will happen to this creamy. And then the kitchen favorite is we made a cacao, kind of our version of a Nutella, and that one's really good. So see how thick and creamy those are, more like the butter, and this also will become that. So how I eat nut butters is this is my raw cultured bagel that I am going to choose to have the smoked cheese on. It's my idea of almost a faux bagel. Put a few capers on there. Then also a cheese, so how about, a cracker. So now I get to have cheese and crackers, now that I can have dairy-free vegan cheese and gluten-free crackers, right? And then one of my favorites is just how easy this is, but I'm going to be a little decadent. Let's go for the chocolate, and you'll see that that's the one I'm going to actually sample. Chocolate and carrot. It's pretty good. I like it. Let me tell you a little bit of how to make flavors. And maybe you really like the taste of sunflower. It's not my favorite flavor just by itself. And when I looked in the store for sunflower butters, sugar, believe it or not, sugar was the main ingredient. Maybe sunflowers first, maybe sugar. But that just told me that in our nut butters, we're used to more sugar. So a couple things about flavoring. This one, you could do a savory. So this is smoked paprika, a little mesquite. I added a little stevia, and the stevia that I'm really in love with right now, it's actually a leaf stevia that's not processed. See how green that actually is? I just put a dusting of it, and that's plenty of flavor. But it adds that little sweet that I think sunflowers need. And then for the cinnamon and nutmeg, add a really good amount of cinnamon to get the flavor to overcome the sunflower. And then for the cacao, and I make a raw vegan chocolate, so I kind of know what some of the good flavors are with it. And the reason that this is so much thicker, because it all started out the same base, a little more thin, is that it has a lot of powder in it. So a lot of cacao. And with cacao, it's very bitter unless you do add more of a sweetener. So this is a coconut nectar. You could add this. I also added a little bit of stevia. Sometimes I do drops, sometimes I do that one. And a little more salt. So that's how I've extended the flavor of sunflower butter. And it just can make a great spread and wraps. However you're interested, it can be sweet, it can be savory, and just really delicious with sprouted sunflower seeds into a nut butter. So the fun thing is now that we get to taste test, and this is the smoked on a bagel. Let's see how it tastes. Really creamy, kind of sticks to the top of my mouth like I'm used to a nut butter, so perfect.